Hey guys, I thought I would just do a little chatty video, maybe like life update, maybe not, maybe just randomly talking. I haven't done that in a little bit. I'm just playing with a little crystal at the moment. I don't even know. I forget what this is. I don't think it's calcite. Oh, I don't remember, but I feel like it begins with a C. But I hope this finds you well, and thank you for joining me today. I guess I feel like talking about destiny and what I was thinking about recently is my dog passed away in February, right? Yeah. She passed away February 24th, and I remember because it was 10 days after Valentine's Day. And then a month to the day that she passed, I went to a local humane society to see about volunteering there because I really missed my dog and just being around dogs. We have a house full of cats, and as awesome as cats are, it just, the energy of our house shifted into just cat house. And it was very different and very just apparent that my dog was not here, and in various ways, because I think a dog, the energy of a dog in itself is very unique and kind of like loud, and especially my dog, because she was just very unique. And then I think too with pets you get into certain routines and habits, and then kind of like a breakup almost. It's like you're used to certain things, like maybe talking to the person every day or whatever, like certain things that you're used to doing. And then when they're gone, it's just very different, and it makes their absence more apparent. So long story short, I wanted to start volunteering or something to just be around dogs again. And I met a dog there who I immediately just was like, I feel like I recognized her soul, but I don't know. Part of it is she reminded me of an old dog I had growing up. That was an aspect of it, but she just seemed familiar. And long story short, even though I I was not ready to really adopt another dog, like emotionally, I don't think. I did so, and so I met her on the 24th and adopted her 4 days later. And I was just thinking how if my dog had never passed away, I wouldn't have ever met this new dog. And I was just wondering what would have happened to her if I hadn't adopted her. And I was just thinking about destiny, how it feels like certain people are supposed to come into our lives, and especially so if they feel familiar. And I think it's so interesting when that happens, when you meet someone that feels familiar, when you feel like you've known them before. And yeah, what is that? Is that, I've read that before we come into this life, it's like we almost like write out a plan of certain things we're going to do, or certain people we're going to meet up with, and that kind of thing. And it can make you wonder about how much choice we actually have. But maybe where the choice comes in is what to do when these people come into our lives, or these certain things that are maybe destined to happen. Maybe the choice is what we do. Like in this instance, maybe it was destiny that I met this dog, but it was my choice to either choose to adopt her or not, and what have you. So I'd be curious what other people's viewpoints are in that. And I've also been thinking about having awareness, and it's like feels like a double-edged sword because I feel like I'm really close. It's like a blessing because I feel like the more you're aware of things in life, you're able to see and understand the beauty more than perhaps if you're more ignorant. And yet, it feels like the sadder things in life that are a little more difficult can maybe be more difficult. I guess it depends on the person. But I was thinking recently, it kind of like, it almost feels kind of sick to be aware of your own existence and the fact that it's going to end. And they say it never actually ends, it just keeps going. And I think there's kind of something terrifying about that. Honestly, like, it just seems kind of tiring. You know, if you're just like constantly reincarnating, or even if you do get a rest period, it's just really interesting. It's very interesting. But yeah, just that awareness of like, oh, there's a little finch on the porch. See, it's like things like that I love so much. Just like there's so much beauty everywhere and everything. And it's just amazing how all these little things have life, and even the plants. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the more aware I become, the more I'm just kind of wowed by everything. And it's just really amazing. Even seeing a butterfly flying around, it's just like, what the hell? How's it even doing that? It's amazing. But yeah, and I think it's just the as I said, kind of sadder moments of life that you know are coming, or you assume that, like, especially for a lot of loved ones, like there's that awareness that they're going to pass, and you can have the belief that, you know, life goes on after this and we all meet up again. But being in this form, it can, you know, being human, even if life goes on in other ways and you do meet up again, I think the lack of like certainty around it can be kind of challenging. So I'm thinking about that. But on a lighter note, I am just like really excited for the summer, and I feel like I have a lot of things that I want to do, and just like having things that I want to do is exciting in itself. And it's exciting that I feel like drawn to posting more again, because when I was just dealing with the passing of my dog and everything, and then getting adjusted to having a new dog, it was just like a lot, and I didn't feel like posting videos. Just wanted to just kind of, you know, do my thing then and integrate, I guess you could say. And yeah, I feel like definitely experiencing more things, like trying new things. I've always been a very adventurous spirit and wanting to like, and enjoying very much traveling and just seeing new things and doing new things. And I think that aspect of myself kind of wasn't as, how do I want to say it? I've been more in like a rest, like reclusive mode the past like year or two, I would say. And now I'm kind of more back to how I have been for a long time, where I just want to like go out and do things and try new things and just make connections with people versus like being at home. Just like not really wanting to go out much. But I think also certain seasons play a role in that. Like wintertime, it's I think pretty normal to want to just be inside and maybe not want to go out and do as much. But yeah. I think I just feel like it's so important. I think everyone has their own things that they want to do in life and what they feel called to do and what they want to achieve in their lifetime. And I think my main thing is I would like to live in my life. I would like to live my life in a way where it might sound really cliche, but when I'm older, looking back, I don't want to really have any regrets as to how I live my life. And I feel like there are more regrets around things that you don't do than things that you do. Because if you don't do something, there's always that, if you don't do something you feel drawn to doing, there's that what if feeling after the fact. Whereas if you do something, there's, you know, I mean, you experience it, so there's no unknown there because you tried it. So I think I would rather that than not know how something would have panned out. And I think that's what inspires me to try new things. And I was talking to someone probably a couple months ago now, and I was just telling her how there's something extremely uncomfortable, at least for me, about stagnancy. And I know there's a time and a place for it, but I feel like if I am just too comfortable for too long, it is extremely uncomfortable, ironically. And I think that's why in the past I've really enjoyed traveling and just going out of my comfort zone. There's something so comforting about that for me anyway. And there's something so freeing and liberating about doing something you feel drawn to doing. And I do think it's important to live your life in a way where you recognize that you won't always have it, at least in this current form that you are now. Like maybe life does go on other ways in different places. But how I feel is like even if reincarnation is a thing and we just go on forever living, like I probably won't be in this form again. Like this is probably my only chance, unless they're like parallel universes. There's like this life playing out in like a million different ways. I forget the theory. I forget what it's called, but there's some theory where instead of like reincarnation where you're reincarnating as the same, or I'm sorry, as a different person in a different place, like what if you constantly just live the same life over and over? And to me, the idea of that is extremely comforting. And I think which is kind of nice that it's comforting, that it feels comforting to me because it shows me how much I do love my life and the people in it. Because I think the biggest draw to that is knowing that the people I love will be, like, I'll see them again and again, which is really nice. And that got me thinking about my life and just how, yeah, like, I could do it again. Even, like, knowing all of the really difficult things that would come to pass. Like, I don't know, thinking about it makes me teary-eyed. It's nice to feel grateful, even like knowing that certain things would be extremely hard, like having gone through it. But it'd be interesting if it's the same life over and over, but you could make different choices with everything. Because I'm sure if you look back on your life, you maybe sometimes wonder, like, oh, what if I had done things this way instead? And maybe if you had the chance, you'd do something different each time. And actually, what's interesting about that, because one might think that if you're living the same life, you'd probably make the same choices, but maybe this is different in a way. But I have a loved one who has dementia, and like I have to repeat things a lot. Like she'll just instantly kind of forget things. And her reaction to things can be different. So maybe I could say something and at one point she could be like really supportive. And then I could say it again because she forgot, and then maybe in the next instance she like disagrees with it. So her opinions are like constantly varying. So it just makes me think of how like, yeah, maybe if you forget, like if you were to come to this life again, forget like that you lived it before, that you might do things differently. So it's kind of interesting. I've also been thinking about how there's a pull to want to make choices and do things in my life that just elevate it, and do as little things as possible that do the opposite. And I know in life there's compromise and there's things you have to kind of just do sometimes that maybe you don't feel like doing, but more often than not, I want to choose things that elevate it and that bring me joy and things like that. And it's interesting if you are sensitive to how things make you feel, like in your body or just emotionally, and luckily I can feel that very well, like subtle changes, and I'm almost like hyper aware of how I'm feeling and how that can change, and who or what can change that. The cat. Yeah. He says hello.